If someone asks you for matching, are you able to make informed decision whether to have it or not to have it?
I've seen like how passionately you advocate for health issues, SRHR, young people and health. But when you're having these conversations in the community and you're telling men that you can also say no to sex, they're like,
Now, if you come to rights, anyone can say yes or no. It's not based on gender.
You mentioned consent.
I think the conversations around the age of consent is very controversial.
Okay. Why do you think that we're still dealing with a lot of cases of gender-based violence?
You want to end gender-based violence by empowering communities with information. But what is causing gender-based violence is not lack of information. You get?
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Urban Online Show. My name is June. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jane.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
Yeah, just introduce yourself.
I love the name Akode, but of course I'm Nelson Akot.
Like I've seen like how passionately you advocate for health issues, SRHR, young people and health. And when you're starting, you are touching into why it's important to also have these things in facilities. Is this something that you're passionate about because of what you're experiencing when you're going to these hospitals? Or
yeah, I think to start that off, I'm one person that have experienced the realities of health facilities, right from a dispensary to the national referrals. So I've gone to a dispensary, to a health center, to a district hospital, to level 4, to level, all that. Okay, I don't think if there's a level that I've not visited, you get, but the experiences are different.
Yeah.
But it's also good that things have changed. There are a few things that were really awkward then that have changed now. You know, for example, dispensary these days you'd find a few dispensaries having healthcare professionals. You'd find they have maybe some tests they can offer. You get.
Yeah.
Though not across the country.
Not across.
Yeah, but it needs to have that. So you'd find also at the level of health center, they should have like certain levels of service provision. Same to level 4 and 5s, leave alone the referral hospitals. But I've faced all this. So when I advocate for issues around SRHR, I've come to face them one-on-one. I've realized and I've seen everything that happens when you walk into a dispensary and when you walk into a national referral, for example, like Kenyatta.
Yeah.
And also that is attached to health financings that we have. So when you talk about health financing, I have lived to see how that interprets to the real life of young people and just communities at large. Because if you are providing SRHR commodities, probably you want budget for young persons only.
Yeah.
You'll have parents, you have like the general population, because you wouldn't want to have discriminatory services.
Yeah.
You'd want to offer services based on the needs presented by either clients or any walk-in into a facility. So all these have shaped how I advocate and how passionate I'm about SRHR. And of course, when you talk about teenage pregnancies and HIV, those are personal experiences that have also shaped my advocacy journey. Yeah.
For maybe someone that is, I don't want to say living under a rock, but for someone that has not interacted with the word SRHR, maybe we are receiving, everyone knows what you're talking about. And we are talking about this abbreviation thing sometimes in a changanya mtu. So what is this SRHR that we keep on mentioning so that everyone is on the same page?
Okay. I'd say SRHR is how we keep life going.
Okay.
But of course, if we have to spell out the word, the letters, it's sexual and reproductive health and rights. So if you talk about sexual health, you talk about something like, are you able to erect if you're a man? Are you able to be turned on if you're a woman? Do you have interest in having intimate times with a partner? You get. And now when we talk about sexual rights, is the ability for you to either make informed decision. The aspect of saying yes or no. You get?
Yeah.
If someone comes to you and asks you for a match, they call it match.
Mechi.
If someone asks you for matching,
Yeah.
are you able to make informed decision whether to have it or not to have it? Whether to say yes or not
No.
to say yes. You get? So when we talk about reproductive health, now this refers to the environment of, for example, delivery, if you have been pregnant, you get all that. And then now rights now goes to if you are getting the services. If you walk into a facility, you want to access contraceptive commodities. Are you able to get that? That should be, that is now the angle of reproductive rights. So ideally, that's why I'm saying it's how we keep life going. Yeah.
Just a fun thing to say. You said like now, sexual right is when you're able to say no, like knowing your rights and stuff like that. But when you're having these conversations in the community and you're telling men that you can also say no to sex, they're like,
yes, I should be able to say
it's like when you're talking about sexual rights, it's a conversation that looks like it targets women mostly, because now it's women that you can say no to, but men, they wonder if
you can as well.
Yeah.
Now, if you are talking about sexual rights, they kind of attach to sexual health. Because, for example, I think one thing that has kept me out of relationships is also doubting myself. You get?
Yeah.
Because I'm asking myself, if she says yes, will I be able to perform? You get? Because the moment you ask for it, the only two things that will happen are yes, and no. Of course, now that brings the aspect of the sexual health.
Okay.
You get?
Yeah.
That can define whether you are saying yes or no, based on your health and well-being. Now, if you come to rights, anyone can say yes or no. It's not based on gender. But now, because you are a man, there's no point in time that you'll say no. You are a yes all the time. You'll find a time that there's just you making a decision that at this point, I wouldn't want to have sex. You know?
Yeah.
Or I'm just from having one.
Yeah, but will that not be seen as like as a sign of weakness? Maybe like your female partner wants sex and then you say like no, and maybe you're expected to like.
I think that there are a lot of perception that people have got in relation to sex. And also, when we talk about sex, and I'll want to use the word intimacy.
Okay, intimacy.
If you get intimate, people say there's so many ways to have sex. It doesn't have to be the penetrative sex. You can have oral sex. You can have just a kiss. You can cuddle. All these put together, you get?
Yeah.
All these put together
It's intimacy. Yeah.
It's intimacy.
Yeah.
And it's also in relation to having sex. So you don't have to always say yes. You can just cuddle if you are tired, or you are not in the mood, or you are just not in a position to have it. And of course, sometimes you find people make it based on their health. Sometimes you are not able to have an erection. You get? Or there is just a medical condition or a health condition that prevents you from having that. But that doesn't mean that all the times you cannot have any other reason to say no. You can always say no based on how you feel about sex or how you feel about intimacy.
Okay. Most of the questions are deriving from the conversation we get in the community with young people. And now when you look at most relationships with young people, especially from urban informal settlements, there are like young people that are maybe trying things out and looking at it from the point of what you can offer in this kind of relationship. And then now you see the only thing you can offer it's intimacy or sexual relations. So whether you want to say yes or no, stuff like that, there is like no that liberty of saying yes or no, because maybe you just like a girl in the house, the man goes out and comes. So whenever he wants like to have sex or be intimate, like you don't have the option of saying yes.
I think that is something that we need to walk away from.
Yeah.
It exists because sometimes you'd find you are in a house and you are dependent on the man,
Yes.
for example. So whenever he says, I want it, you feel like that is something you have to do. That is your responsibility, of which it's something that usually when we talk about SRHR, there's the aspect of consent. You get the aspect of conversation. And they also say it's communication that keeps everything running. And communication will entail understanding each other and agreeing some conversations. So if you say, I'm not interested, it doesn't mean that you are not interested all the times. That's the first thing. The second thing is you are not sending this person away. It's just for that moment that you are not in your right mind to consent to what they want. So I think in our minds, mostly within the communities, is that it's a win for a man and not the woman. And it's because sex is attached to pleasure for the man. But do women get pleasure?
Do you? Women get pleasure.
Do they?
Yeah.
You get?
Yes.
So because it's attached to the man
Yes.
being the one who is getting pleasure, it's now your role to provide that pleasure in place of or in exchange for, if it is the rent or it is the food, if it is the clothes, whichever the thing that you feel is providing. But it should be both sides. If we are saying yes, it should be based on you consenting because you've agreed knowingly that you're doing it. But it's also not a weakling if you're the one who's asking and the man is no. It's also not a kind of weakling. Sometimes it's either informed based on their health and well-being, or sometimes it's just a person who decides, at this point, I don't want, for example, to get into sex or intimacy or sexual relationship. It's also a form of kind of weakling. So what happens also with young people is you'd feel like, nikatae.
Yeah.
So for example, ukikuja univisit, how would you take it if I say no? The perception that if you come to visit your boy, there is that is to say yes. There is no conversation. As long as you come, you've opened the door, it has to be sex. Sometimes you just sit down, have your stories, and walk away. There's no harm in doing that.
And we are going to come to consent, but now another aspect of now, for example, now when there is, apart from being seen like a weakness of saying no, maybe now saying, why is he saying no, or why is she saying no? Is she from having with another person?
Many.
Yes, are we many? Or now you're starting questioning yourself, why did he say no to me? Something wrong with me? Something wrong with, from both sides, the man is saying something wrong with me, she's thinking something wrong with me. So also bringing that aspect that it's also normal when someone says
True. Yeah, sometimes there are a lot of bases where young people used to make decisions. But the reason as to why sometimes they are forced to say yes is the outcome of saying no.
Yes.
The first thing, this person sending me away. You get, will this person stop buying me chips or soda or whichever other thing that providing?
Yeah.
You get?
Yeah.
Then out of that, they feel that without saying yes, I will not have a place to stay. I will not have someone who is providing food or clothes.
Yeah.
You remember the time there was the conversation around sex for water? Was it sex for water?
For what?
Yeah. Yes, I just give
Sex
for water. The sun comes with the mkokoteni. There's no water. You want it. Kwambia you, I want you some. You give me, I give you. I don't want your money. You buy. You don't want to buy. I don't want your money.
Mm.
You get. So all these things are attached to, are we at a level that we can get the few basic things that we want without dependence. Because now if you dependent on a man to get what, you get, what will you do? That's the question. What will I do? Because now this man doesn't want me to pay him for the water. You get. So all these shapes how young people decide on saying yes or no. And then all this conversation goes back, how do we sort these challenges?
Yeah.
Because now if we have free flow of water, that won't be a basis that
Yeah.
compiles pressure on a woman to say yes. You get.
Yeah.
To such kind of situation. If we talk about access to things like food, there was a time I asked, we had an intergen dialogue with parents and kids, and we asked, when was the last time you bought Ep015 for your kid? Just chips, whether it's a 20 bob or 30 bob or 50 bob. When was the last time you did that? And very few said they had done the last 1 month. When sometimes your kid will just go because someone was buying it. Yeah, 50 bob or 50 bob soda. That is what someone uses to with them. What if you are able to
buy it for them?
You get.
Yeah.
It also goes to, for example, sex for pads, which is very common.
Yeah.
If now we are talking about access to sanitary towels, but then in 2022 there was the promise, the wonderful sweet promise of having free sanitary towels.
Yeah.
That was something that would really help, because if you're able to access sanitary towels and someone comes and tell you, nitakupea pesa ya pads kama umenipea, that won't be there.
Yeah.
You will make a decision knowing that I have all that you want to use to lure me. You get.
Yeah.
And all that brings the aspects of the role of government, the role of duty bearers in shaping sexual and reproductive health of young people. It's just there's so many few things that if put together will have a very, very, very healthy nation.
Okay. Before now I go back to health, you mentioned consent for the consent. And sometimes we don't know what consent is, whether now when someone comes, is that consent? When someone should it be verbal, someone say yes, or at what point should you know that no, this is consent and this is not? So sometimes it's confusing. So will you enlighten us?
Okay, consent. Some people say that saying no means try harder. Just try harder, I'll change my mind.
Yeah.
Or if the moment I come, there is a consent.
Mm-hmm.
Consent is the process of this person telling you that if you want me to visit you, I'll visit you. This person has consented to coming to visit you, not any other thing. You get?
Okay.
They have consented to coming to visit you. You get? The other aspect would be, I'm saying no to visiting you. Consent would also mean that we are agreeing on where we are meeting. That's also consent, because you will say, okay, I'm coming to such a place. I'm saying yes to coming to, if it is a restaurant, if it is a closed place, if it's an open place, if it is Uhuru Park, whichever the place, you are consenting to one thing at a time. When now it gets to intimacy, it's also a separate conversation. You'll say yes, yes, we will cuddle, but not have penetrative sex. We will have oral sex and not, you get?
Yeah.
All these are conversations around consent. So the aspects of assuming that you coming is a yes.
Consent for everything now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is where we lose a lot of conversations around consent. It starts from just coming. That is a standalone. Because sometimes you can change your mind.
Yes.
You can say, I was planning to come, but I'm not coming. You get? And sometimes you can say, yes, I've agreed we're having sex, but I've changed my mind. You get? All this, ile kukula fair. Sometimes it's not kukula fair. This person just changed their mind of when they want to have sex. You get? But the best way they know to do that is not
show up.
Yes.
Yeah.
So all this now brings the aspect of how do you interpret this person accepting to come. It's not to consent to everything. You can agree that if it is a consent to have sex, we are having or we are having just cuddling, or we are having the penetrative sex. You get? All this doesn't mean that if I say yes to cuddling, it's a yes to badina kwanga nangori. You get?
Yeah.
Because people say, hey, the moment you start cuddling is the bend on.
Yeah.
What do you want?
What do you want us? Yes. Okay.
You get?
Yeah.
So it's a conversation on how far does consent go. It goes to a specific. If it is coming, it's like you will say yes to eating. If someone decides to cook and give you food, you'll decide whether to eat or not. So if you refuse to eat, what will they do? Just accept and
But now at what point, like, do we initiate this conversation of yes to this particular area, like you say, to cuddling? Like, at what point do we start now knowing this is what you're going to do? Or who initiates the conversation? Should someone ask you that, okay, you're coming, can we like have intimacy at what level? Or how do we come about that? Because sometimes maybe we don't even know how to go about it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So I'll use an example of kuomba mechi. So when you talk to, for example, you meet a very beautiful tigress, and you're like, let me give it a try. The first thing, the first consent starts with you deciding either to talk to her or not. You get? And then the aspects of selecting the words you'll use. You'll decide at this point, I'll ask for either contact or or the name on Facebook or whichever place, you get. And you bring the closeness. You just start at that point.
Yeah.
So depending on the conversation that you start with, maybe you met in church, you met in school, you met at work, depending on the conversation that you initiated at that point,
yeah,
you are able to define that at this point, the consent I'm agreeing to is based on what this person is saying. You get?
Yeah.
And when it goes to intimacy, it should come from either of you. Because already you know each other, you began talking, you get? Probably you realize the intention of the other person. So you'll be able to define or just ask. You can just ask, if you want me to come visit you, we can meet somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then this person will tell you, in my house, for what reason?
It's close.
You get?
Yeah.
If this person is able to tell you the reasons why it's his house and not maybe Uhuru Park or somewhere in town, then you will be able to question. And questioning there's no harm in questioning.
Yeah.
You can just ask, for your house, I don't feel comfortable coming, but we can meet somewhere else. And somewhere else doesn't mean nyumba ya beshte. You get?
Yeah.
It's just a matter of changing the venue from a closed setup to an open space where both of you feel comfortable having conversations in. So when it gets to intimacy, saying yes or no is a step-by-step conversation. You'd say, okay, it's fine. I'm saying yes. So you'll say yes, and you get to bed, and you start cuddling. And in the middle of that, you feel there's something off. You're still open to say no. You say, I feel at this point, let's stop. And that is what also brings some confusion, where someone is saying, stop means
Continue.
stop means continue, or stop means be a little more rough. You get?
Yeah.
The confusion that comes with that is really, really a lot among young people. They'll feel like you want it rough. That's why you are saying stop. So I have to force you for you to head to the act. So it's a step by step. You'll say yes, but in the middle, if there's a reason, or even if you just decided to say no, you can still say no. But that is based on this the safety of the place you two are. If you're in a closed place, okay, maybe in a room somewhere, and this person decides to force himself on you, you get? That's the aspect of, does the place you guys are meeting is safe and comfortable for the both of you?
Yeah.
You get? And even into deciding you are having penetrative sex or not, that is also to bring the aspects of consent. Because you can say, I'm saying yes, but on a condition that you're going to use protection. You get? That is still, you are consenting, but you're giving some kind of a condition on why you are accepting.
Yeah.
So without a condom, I'm saying no. With the condom, I'm saying yes. That is still the aspect of consent.
What I'm getting is the level of being specific in consent is also, it's important what you're saying, and like because this is like you're together in this whatever it is, so like there's room for asking questions and this other party when you feel like get to know why this person wants you in their house and stuff like that. Ask questions so that you also get to do what you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
I think that's where most of the time we go wrong. Like you feel like you don't have the right or the power to question what you feel uncomfortable with.
Yeah, or change your mind.
Or change your mind about something. And if you change your mind, how do you accept this change of mind? Do you accept it, or do you feel like, no, this is disrespect or something? So I think that is what I'm getting from that consent. But when thinking about consent, there's an aspect of which age supposed to be consent or not. And when you're having these conversations, there's this aspect that it's very difficult to know the age of someone by just looking at it, especially females and girls. So you can look at someone and not know their age and just think they're like older and things like that. So in terms of ages, and how do you know if this is the right age? Mtu akuja na idea ama
I think the conversations around the age of consent is very controversial.
okay.
But I'd say it's attached to knowledge.
Right.
It's attached to how someone can be able to interpret conversations or just decode the conversations around intimacy. Is this person able to understand what sex is in the first place? Do they understand the implications of having sex? What comes with it? Okay? If anything comes, how are they able to deal with whatever comes out of it? If someone is not having this kind of information, whether you are 30 or 40, don't think you can be in a position to consent. You get? So, and then it also takes the aspects of biological maturity. Is this person in a position to, they say you have to be in a position body-wise, like biologically, to respond to the body changes that comes with sex. So for example, if you get pregnant, how will your body respond to it? How will that impact your day-to-day life? Okay. Are you able to respond You get? Do you understand the implications of getting pregnant? For example, if you're at work, you'll be thinking around, does this contract give me a leeway to get the payment regardless of the period I'm out of work? You get? So if you are not in a position to really put all this together, then the consent, I would say, it's not informed.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you are, for example, below 18 or 16, and for example, biologically you are not up to the task, you get? It's very hard to say this person said yes. Okay? That's the first flip of it. The other side goes to, yes, you said no. Okay? Or someone decided to ask, how old are you? As to know whether the age you are told is it is true or not, it's another totally different conversation. Because someone will think, why are you asking? Why? Yeah? It's me you want, not my age. Again,
But it's just a number.
It's very relevant to us for my age.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll say yes, but achana na age yangu. Again, and mostly people do not ask age. They check either the height, how the face looks, just general appearance to predict. This could be 21, for 22. You get?
Yeah.
But the conversation of asking, how will you verify the age? Because I think there was a case in court about a lady somewhere who that was a bit funny, but she was on her way home, and then a very young, tall boy was on a bike, then stops close to her, then talks to her, asks for her number, and she feels like, this guy is so nice. So let me just give him. They exchange contacts and they get close and they have sex, and if it gets a point, the parents of the boy gets to know what's happening. Then they take this woman to court. The woman says, I saw a very matured
Tall man.
tall and handsome. So that is what made me decide to head to the conversation. I didn't ask. You get? So when you get to court, there are things that you wouldn't put as how you want to fight your case. You get? You want to go and say, no, I didn't know. You get? So that is, I think it's still in court. It's a very long conversation on how would you verify the age. You get?
Okay.
So if you go with the ID, how would you how do you know? Because sometimes you check on your, have you ever looked at your ID versus you?
Good thing my own ID got lost and got another one that looks better.
Yes, that is also something you'd have to consider.
Yeah.
Are you able to confirm the person on the ID is the person you are talking to?
Yeah.
Because there are also conversations around.
Actually, people taking pictures of ID needs to do better.
So just have someone else's ID.
Yeah.
And so you want to know my age? It's here. You get? What will you do at that point? You'll just feel like, oh wow, you are of age. Make the consent.
Now what could you birth certificate?
You get? So all this comes to, but you know, sometimes it goes to name. People like even the names. So if I told you I'm Jennifer, I'll show you that I'm Jennifer.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get? Yeah. So that also informs, even if I bring you the birth certificate, if I had told you I'm Eunice,
and you're saying,
yes, it's still Eunice, I will show you that I'm Eunice. Because now for the birth certificate, it's just come the document. You get? So there's nowhere you'll just say there's a photo there that you'll say and put against the person you are talking to. The same ID. I think initially they were having some kind of, I don't know what happened with that government camera. You see that?
Actually, that ID, my first ID got lost, and I was frustrated, and I was so happy. The picture there, oh no.
You're not even sure if that is you. You get?
Yeah.
So if we have such kind of scenarios happening, then it makes issues around consent a little bit tricky and hard for the both of you. Because for you, if you are a woman and the boy comes and he will give you the ID, how will you be sure that is them?
Yeah.
Okay? As opposed to now, of course, we have the digital IDs which kind of have that resemblance of the person you are talking to.
Yeah.
You get?
Yeah. What I'll get from that is, I think it's now personal initiative as a person, not the other person, as you that want to be engaged in sexual intimacy or in intimacy generally. Like Nelson has said, what is your level of knowledge in terms of what will happen to you if you get pregnant? What will happen to you if you contract any disease? What will happen to you? Or are you even in the position to like deal with the aftermaths of being intimate with this person? And then you decide from there if you're going to give consent or not. Because if you start to go in the way of age and things like that, it's easily manipulative. If someone really wants to get to you, they can really manipulate the ages.
But also, it also goes to perfect. How patient are you?
This thing is not running away.
But it's not running away. You know. So how patient are you?
Yeah.
Because now some things might just need time to reveal themselves.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I think in high school we had a principle that sometimes you'd have a case there, they'll just not punish you. Then like a week and ask you, this is the case that you had. What do you have to say about it? You'll say, and then he'll wait for another 1 month and ask you. If you miss a word, you're in for it. Sometimes if you're patient with someone, they'll always forget. You'll find someone forgetting that yesterday in December, I'm Eunice. Last week I said I'm Veronica. You get? So if you are patient enough, and you are
enough to wait for a week, you can just be having a conversation, then someone forgets that I've said this and
hey, yeah, you said your name is. Sometimes you just take time and everything will reveal itself.
Yeah,
be able to even understand the level of comprehension of this person. How does this person comprehend everything that I discussed with him, or with him? If he's a man or a boy, you are able to predict based on how this person reasons. If you ask them just a normal question, how will they respond? Okay? And then what does that say you about their level of maturity or understanding of their environment or just life generally? Because you wouldn't want to have sex with someone who probably do not understand what they are getting into.
Yeah.
It's good and fun to have conversation and have intimacy with someone that is also knowledgeable on what they are doing. So with the time, with patience, you are able to join the dots and be able to understand that the consent that you are given is an informed consent without having to go with the way of predicting just...
Okay. Yeah. That makes perfect sense. That makes sense. With time, you'll know if you are dealing with Ashley or Rosemary.
True.
Okay. There's a wide range of talking about SRHR, but I want us to shift to the aspect of sexual abuse and gender abuse. But in this category, because when having conversations with young people and talking about really reasoning how are we or why are we not able to end gender-based violence or sexual and gender-based violence, yet you've been talking about it for a long time, and then it's not like, so what is happening there? I would really want to know then. And also talking to the aspect of sometimes there is a misunderstanding of abuse and a form of affection, and how abuse starts, to how now at what point do you need to like know that, okay, this is not the right way of showing affection or stuff like that. Because sometimes it's confusing for young people and becomes an issue of dealing with a lot of things. And also let's start, because now we'll ask all the questions together. So let's start. Why do you think that we are still dealing with a lot of cases of gender-based violence, regardless of how many efforts you are trying to put there to make sure that young people understand their rights, their sexual rights?
Yeah, I think there's two sides of that, because there have been a lot of efforts in really handling the issues around sexual and gender-based violence. So on one side, you will take that there have been really impact in terms of what has been done.
Yes.
Because one, you define probably the cases have not increased. It's just that the reporting has increased. Because now people have the understanding of this is what I need to do when this happens.
Okay.
So this is the first side. The second side of which can also be true is that they are still happening. It's true that they're still happening. Does it mean that there are areas that the efforts have not reached? You get? For example, if you're talking about sexual violence in this day and time, especially in the city, what would that tell you? What did our interventions look at? Yeah, right? Such that the question is, what did the intervention or effort respond to? You get?
Yeah.
And what is causing these cases to increase? So, for example, you want to end gender-based violence by empowering communities with information. You've given them the information. But what is causing gender-based violence is not lack of information. You get? It's either economic disparities and just cultural beliefs and traditions that people have. So you get the programming kind of missed the ideal issues that it needed to address.
Yeah.
So with that, regardless of the effort that you're placing, we'll still have the cases. You get? Because now we are not handling the roots of what is happening. So what if the conversations and the programs were shifting toward the causes? Okay? So if you have kind of a tree, right? And you want to cut down all the branches, do you think the tree will thrive? There are high chances that the tree will still have.
Over time, the branches will still grow.
Will still grow, and it will still bring the flowers and fruits will come out. You get?
Yeah.
So what if you cut at the track? With the time, there are possibilities
that it will still
grow.
Yes.
What if you uproot the whole
on the root? Okay.
You get?
Yeah.
So now, for example, part of the root was economic empowerment. Okay? And part of the root was information. Yes, you provided information, but the other leg of it is economic-wise. Have we focused on that?
Yeah.
Thirdly, is we have all these put together, we have the conversations, but then does communities change, or is the individual change? So sometimes you have this person have reported a case, but then how will the community respond? Your boyfriend forced you, or just a group of young boys or men, or even a father possessed himself on a daughter, and then the mother wants to report. How will the community respond? How will that family respond? All these now builds, how does communities build support for conversations around SGBV? Because now without it, then you, as a mother, you'd either be forced to sideline this story. You just say, no, let it pass. I can't shame my husband. I can't shame my dad. I can't shame, you get. So you will keep it just under the carpet. But it's happening. It will continue to happen. You get. So it goes to how we program. And I believe if we change the programming, how we focus our programming, we'll really have change. Because most of the conversations are also running around sustainability, building community support. You get. All that will really help us to build a community that provide that protection. That if you report, you have a community that is behind you, and not you on your own. You get. Because now the feeling of if I report, I'm on my own. What if you are sure that this is a whole community against gender-based violence? Even perpetrators will not survive in such kind of settings. You get. So all this now informs whether or not our programming are in line with the end goal or not.
So it goes back to programming.
Yes.
Sometimes maybe we are offering a solution that is not for that particular problem.
It is probably it's a one-sided.
Okay.
Mostly because now we are still responding to the same issues, but now differently. Our interventions are not that deep into the real causes of what's bringing all this case.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. I think now at least we are learning into when now we are programming certain different interventions to deal with generally any issue. We need to look at both sides of these interventions, what they're going to result to.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you've had this. Sometimes there's a girl that told us that unavyeka asipomslap kidogo I feel like it's so what is I don't know if for personally I don't think there's a level of abuse that should be accepted either way, is it like a small slap or anything, but to what is really, what should you take as an abuse in a relationship for you to now know that, okay, this is not right or something?
Okay. Let me start by...
For how long should I be slapped to know that this is an abuse?
Okay, this is really interesting and also kind of controversial because it goes for conversation around pleasure. What do you want when having sex? How do you get pleasure? You get?
Yeah.
Then, how do you communicate about it? Because you find someone telling, choke me, please choke me. Sorry, that's too vulgar.
Yeah.
But anyway, you'd find someone saying, choke me. As a man, what would you do? If you choke her?
Yeah.
Or what if she says that you have to slap me? You get? So sometimes it's based on how comprehension of pleasure. How do you understand pleasure?
Okay.
How do you understand yourself as a person? You get? How do you communicate the same to your partner or the person you're having sex with? How do you communicate the same? Of course, sometimes you find that is their way of having pleasure.
Yeah.
But how intense? You get? When it's about having sex and pleasure, it's you to guide him. That if you are choking me, it has to get to this. If I say do this, that is what exactly you should do. You get? If I say slap me, it should feel this way. You get? So it goes back to you to guide. If you want this man to slap you, as probably it's one of the ways you have pleasure.
Okay.
Guide him. Let him know, I want it to this extent, intensity. Not so hard, okay? Not so frequent. You get? If you slap once, take some 2-3 seconds break or a minute break. Give me another one. You get? All those conversations. Direct this person on what would that tap look like,
Okay.
or what would that choke me?
So you
Because sometimes you say choke me, I could choke a potato farm. You get?
Yeah.
Just find yourself, you are not even able to breathe. Because you said choke me without guiding him on what choke me would mean to you. That's the first thing.
Okay.
The second thing would go to issues around, when we talk about gender-based violence, sometimes it's either financial,
Yeah.
emotional.
Yeah.
So it starts from very basic things, right? Just feel misunderstanding and someone is not talking to you.
Yeah.
You ask for something, there's no response. You should be able to, as long as that person makes you feel or question your stay together or the relationship, you should have a second thought about it. And this refers to the aspect of this person is asking for sex, you're saying no, alafu anatoka. He leaves the house for say an hour or 3 hours or 4 hours, and then is coming back and not eating and not talking to you for a week. You get that also piles you with a lot of questions. One that I know will not miss. Did you go to have it somewhere else? That will always come first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? What if you didn't have it somewhere else? How did you help yourself? Because you are no longer asking. You get? So that bring the aspect of emotional, let me say emotional torture. You are left with a lot of things that you're asking yourself, and you are not able to even ask. If you ask, he or she is silent. What does that tell you? It's the beginning of a series of events. So it's also back to you to ensure that you enhance conversations with this person. You can just look at a point that either a neutral time that there's no much happiness, there's no much sadness.
Yeah.
To just bring a casual conversation of how you are feeling when you talk to him or her and she keeps quiet. Or when you ask for something and they are not giving a response. This continuity of that will build up. Probably this person will think, if I keep quiet, you are all good. So what if it comes a point that you really, really need this, which you're asking? At that point, they'll just take it like, it's up to you. You are used to staying silent.
Yeah.
When you go to, for example, financially, you'd find this person is now not providing. If probably that was based on the relationship was based on financial and blah blah blah. You understand? So you bought an iPhone or you bought whichever model of phone, but now because I said no to sex, you've stopped. Or you asking me to come to your house and then I get someone else. You get?
Yeah.
All this comes with a lot of repercussions on how this either man or woman will respond to your conversations.
Yeah.
Because now if that happens, will you talk normally? Will there be fights? Of course, sometimes you decide to fight for your man. You fight for your man or for your woman.
Okay.
And then that brings the physical abuse. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you're just, I'm not staying here. You get?
Yeah.
And you walk away for some instances. And then when you bring the angle of dependency, you are here to stay. You will not be able to walk away. You will feel like, if I walk away, where will I sleep? What will I eat? You get all this put together. How will I survive
Yeah.
outside there? That is where now you bring dependency into this. And when it continue and it grow to physical violence, you might not also be able to report, because now it's kinda based on what this person is providing, and it's attached to how will you cope without this person. The aspects of depending solely on this person, and that goes to also conversations around being able to report or being able to follow up on cases and ensure that justice is served. And this is attached to also families. What will the family say? Most of the time we find a case starts so well. In between the family meetings and the case has drawn. You get. So all these put together really compile a lot of pressure on either of you, and then continuity of it now turns to be. It takes different shapes. Sometimes it might start as just a small thing. It starts with something that you feel it's not so big. Just slap me. And sometimes there was a time we were told, I won't say, if you're man enough. If you're man enough. And I'm like, if you're man enough, what should you do? Beat her? And if you walk away, probably someone will think you are a weakling. But you're just trying to walk away from a possible scenario that would not end well. So it's both sides. You can say, I'm walking away because I don't want trouble. But sometimes if it is uninformed or is not consensual, then you find it leaves emotional implication on the other person. And sometimes it now, if you stay and it still is not consensual, it can bring the aspects of physical violence. And both sides really need a lot of communication and understanding between the both of you to really know that to this level I fight, and to this level is what I'm okay with.
Okay. Still making a lot of sense. You've covered part on, because now intimate partner violence, where now we feel, can my husband, then they slap me, can my, there's issues like that. But you've talked about it, because now sometimes it becomes difficult to really know at what point is this considered violence at the level of relationship we have with this person, or at what point do we now see if it is emotional, if it is financial, if it is physical, or it's something now I'm thinking about sometimes. And it's always confusing, especially for young people that are getting into relationships and stuff like that, and they don't know how to deal with this, and now it ends up being messy and issues like that. Before I move away from gender-based violence, we've been having issues of survivors of gender-based violence coming back to the community because of maybe trauma or how they're going to be seen by the community. And for a long time, there was an issue with other safe houses that can accommodate victims of gender-based violence that want to become survivors, who are an extent where they can now go back to their community after healing the trauma and stuff like that, or they just be interacting with the perpetrator every now and then, and the community is like that.
I think that is what I had mentioned about how we build community support with our programming and intervention. Because, for example, if you are a survivor and you are going back to a community that has not transformed, you are still at risk of a repeat violence. You get. So unless there is a transformation, like a communal transformation, then you'll say if there is no safe house, or if you stayed and the case is resolved, you are able to go back peacefully. It only takes a community that has been transformed. If not, you are exposed to stigma, you are exposed to discrimination, you are exposed to a lot of trauma that will still come. Because now someone will ask you, now that my son is in jail,
are you happy?
are you happy now? You get just very basic conversations, and you'll feel like this wasn't the right idea. This was not the right thing to do. You get? So it touches on how we build community support. Because now, when it comes to issue of safe houses, I doubt if that is sustainable. Because now, if a house host can host, say, 100. So if you are hosting them for how long? Because if you are hosting them there, you are following on their cases. You get? You're also ensuring that within that time, they are undergoing therapy. You get? And then the moment that is done, say maybe 6 months, where are they going from there? It means all the interventions, all the investments to manage this person at a safe house will go towards the moment they are back to the community. That is not transformed. So we are putting a lot of investments to have the safe houses, but we are forgetting where they are going back to. We get, will they go back to that place alternative? Because now someone will ask themselves that I've reported this case. Is my husband is the one who's been paying rent, is in jail. Who is going to pay rent now? You get? But if the conversation is at the community support, you find there's a lot of community spaces, there are a lot of opportunities within that community that could absorb this kind of a person without discriminating them. Because one of the things that will automatically happen, the family might just ensure that you are no longer part of the family. You are really cut off from the family. And that would mean if you had household items, if you had, for example, a business somewhere, or just the small income generating activity that you used to do, they'll ensure that all that is scattered. It's based on how they respond to such kind of cases. So it all goes to the community, because ideally safe houses, they are not enough, not sustainable.
That is a very good effort. I think we should now start focusing on, because most of the time we inform the community or people in the community on how to report these cases, what an abuse is in the first place, what to do when you're abused or things like that. But we don't build that community where survivors can live in, where they take a victim of gender-based violence as their responsibility to make sure they heal through and things like that. I think now that is an important aspect of looking at it all through. Now, I don't know if this is the last aspect of SRHR, but services, but youth-friendly services. There have been an issue of, because when you ask young people, why are you not going to get like general services on SRHR or reproductive health, even just go to the hospital to check yourself. And there are things like, we can now quite get a woman that shouts, and there are such, they find someone there they can't relate with, and are those nini friendly for them to even go. So there have been such cases. So how far are we dealing with youth friendly services?
I think we have had strides on conversations around youth friendly services. From the start, we had a conversation around youth friendly corner, youth friendly center, and all that. But at some point, it was knocking on us that does government have youth friendly centers? Do they have youth friendly corners? What if it was a program that is hosting that center? What happens when the project runs out? Just take an example of Trump, the US saga. I call it saga because it's something that I think we are not yet to absorb what is coming yet. We felt it was a shock, but it's not yet.
But let me just ask, when that all-term US saga thing happened, and with you said, and the dependency we had on them in health services, as like the country, even like, because I've never had any conversation about that. Now, how are we going to step into this now that you said was doing it and it's not doing it anymore? That conversation.
Now here is the thing. Let me deal with
Okay.
You first and us first.
Okay.
You know that at the court lot. So the first thing is, when we had conversations around youth friendly centers, you ask yourself, who is building that center? Who is ensuring that there are commodities? Who is ensuring the human resource? You get? That's the first thing. So the conversation now shifted to integration. Because now you'll have to train someone or a healthcare provider on value clarification, attitude transformation. It's called VCAT. Such that if a young person presents an issue, they're able to respond without either judging or questioning. Where did you get gonorrhea from? You're just 16.
Yes.
You get syphilis from. You get.
Yes.
That's a training on its own. So if it's a program-supported intervention, what happens when the program runs out? So all this shifted into, can the government take the responsibility? They have doctors, they have clinicians, they have clinical officers, they have nurses, they have the human resource within the health structures. Can they have, even during this continuous medical education, the CMEs, just do conversations around youth-friendly services? It doesn't take a building for a service to be friendly.
Yeah.
You get? So it just goes to attitude and how this person responds to the needs of young people. So it just takes a matter of training and ensuring that if a young person comes to a facility, they're able to receive the service that they want in a manner that respects who they are. That is what matters. So I think we've made a lot of strides, conversations around the trainings, conversations around government taking lead in ensuring that the policy on provision of youth-friendly services is implemented. So the policy has been there. The challenge that we've had as a country is implementation.
Yeah.
So I think for now, they are trying as much as possible to really ensure that is implemented. And with that, a young person would walk to a dispensary. And what the gap we found was around who is being trained. So the training is done to the nurse, the CEO, the facility in charge. You get those kind of the professionals within the facilities. But who is the first point of contact when the young person walks?
The receptionist.
You know the receptionist,
The watchman.
from the watchman, from the person at the gate.
Yes.
You get? Sometimes the person you know. And then, what do you come here to do? You get? Just at the gate. That would be a turn-off for a young person. So if they have an integrated capacity strengthening within the facility, ensure that CME, there's the watchman, there's someone from people from the reception, triage, all those service delivery points has to be. Because now the young person will walk in through the gate. There's the gate man. This day they are the community desk. There's a CHP there. They will walk into whether it's at the triage, depending on how the facility runs. But they will go through different service delivery points. A turn-off at one point is a turn-off cross. So if the training is done within the facilities and everyone is trained on VCAT, it will enable young people to get the services anywhere within the health facilities without feeling judged or without having the fears of this story will get to my mom or my parents or my guardians. You get it is confidential, it meets their needs. Because one thing that a young person would never want is the issue to get out.
Yeah.
If I come for condoms, it's between me and you. If I come for ARVs, it should be between me and you, unless I'm the one deciding to disclose. So it goes to government really ensuring that they don't stop the implementation of running that kind of intervention.
Okay.
So it's quite a good thing to do to ensure that public facilities offer youth-friendly, not just centers. So if you walk through the triage, you have a youth-friendly. You go to the pharmacy, you go to the laboratory, you go to the consultation room, you are all sorted.
Yeah.
And that is what will be sustainable. Because government have these employees. They are paid and they are always there for the population to get the services.
Okay.
No, so we had left something on the parking lot. On the Trump and the US funding and dependency, I'll just say we have not understood what has hit us. Up to this point, we've not the government, not the communities, not the CSOs, no one, I'm sure no one has understood what has hit us. Let me give you a scenario. One of the projects I think that is well known is the dreams, right? What were the interventions under the dreams? And what was the population that the dreams was supporting, for example? That's the first aspect. So you have, for example, just take 1,000 girls that were under the dreams project. They were having a safe space to have conversations, to have someone to talk to and share with whatever they were facing, either at home or in school or whichever the place.
Yeah.
That's not there. What is happening to the girls now?
They are.
Where do they get the information? Who do they talk to? Okay? Yeah. For those who are having the economic intervention, if the fee was being paid, who is paying the fee now?
Yeah.
So those are some of the things that have not reached us yet. Leave alone that level. You know, when you talk about donor funding, take the angle of, see, we saw the t-shirts, the Dream Girl t-shirts, they were all over.
Yes.
Do you think there was someone who was given tender to print those t-shirts?
Yes, they were.
Does that person have money now? Do they have tenders now? If they were signing some forms, there was a printer somewhere, right?
Yeah.
There was someone operating that printer, right? They were paid through the program's money, right? Does that person still get that money? How many people do you think depended on that person? That is just a leaf of what has hit us. People have not realized what has hit us. By the time we are getting back to where all this began, we'll be shocked. Really shocked. This is just if you take, for example, just the dreams alone. And you take both sides of the flip. Right from money flow, it supported the economy. If you have, for example, 58 billion coming into the country, into the economy, it's not stuck somewhere. It's flowing.
It's flowing, yeah.
Then now it's no longer there.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it's not that like it was in transition and you prepared for it. It's not there once. You get? What has that done to our economy? It will just take a few time for that to reflect and hit us in real life. And then talk of the job opportunities that came with it. The dependency that came with all that.
Yeah.
And then it goes to the girls, the beneficiaries of all these projects. we've only taken one project. Now imagine this across all the dream supported projects. In addition to that, there were also the facilities that were supported. So they were providing advice and having support groups and having reminders, you get. And that is all of a sudden that is not there. So you find, if take example of Fire Jamii, they have a facility, they have the clinicians they've employed, clinicians have gone home, the facility has been closed. Okay? The nearby dispensary or health center have a CCC department that provides ARVs. But there's only one clinician handling, say, 100 cases. But the other one that has been closed had 1,000 cases. Where are you taking the 1,000? To that health center where there's only one clinician that previously was handling 100 clients. Now has 1,100. What should that done to them? What will that do to them? Even if it was you, growing from 100 clients workload to 1,000 plus workload instantly, not like a progression or something, just an instant change. A lot of things have not gotten to us or us it. And for example, if you talk about commodities as well, you find the government is also trying to find ways on how to manage the gaps that exist. Say, availability of testing kits, availability of regimens, various regimens for ARVs and all that. One of the things that they did was to ensure that those who are on first and second line treatment are changed to either first or second. So if you are in first line of treatment for ARV, you are placed to 1. If you are in third line, you are taken to second line. A challenge with that is, at the point that was happening, I think it was from around April. I'm sure it's still ongoing up now. But they were not doing viral load tests to determine how the drugs were responding with the virus. So ideally, the guide is to have less than 100, I think 100 copies of viral load. But how will you know if you've not done the test? So you find most of the facilities, they're doing this transition without doing the test. You know what will come? Drug resistance. So you are in line 1, you are taking your medication, but it's not responding to the virus. You get?
Yeah.
The same will happen in the second line and third line. If all this happens, and then we have increased cases of HIV transmission, what will happen? So we are not yet. Yet.
My worry is why, because I feel like for something that was really holding so much for the country, health-wise, economic-wise, and socially, because it was looking at different projects that were helping girls, young people everywhere across the country. For it to end, it means there is a huge gap that has been left, and surprisingly, for nobody to be talking about it and for to be doing something about it is something I've not really come to realize why. Because in normal scenarios, I would want now those people, duty bearers to start looking at ways of tapping into this gap, or even talking about it, different ways to do it. Looking at these girls that were being talked to by Dream. Nobody, has anyone even talked to them or stuff like that?
I think that there have been a lot of high-level boardroom engagement.
Okay.
That try to brainstorm how to respond to the gap that exists.
Okay.
But the challenge with that is they are not live to the things that happen at the ground.
Yeah.
They are not live to what is happening currently, the dream girls. They are not live to those facilities that are closed down. They just know that the clients have moved into public facilities. You get, but what else that this?
I even feel like whatever. I feel like whatever they're discussing is more of what they have lost in terms of like the money that was coming in, more of what that has done to you.
Okay, there's the conversation still on how to sustain the basics, commodities, cocoa. You get?
Yeah.
That's the conversation ideally.
Yeah.
But they've not considered the economical impact that is here. And also just the other conversation that comes with the stop work order. Talk about dream girls. They're not thinking about them ideally, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But they should.
Yeah, they should.
By now, you should be hearing conversations around the sanitary towels program running. You'd be hearing about what development fund absorbing or adjusting their bursaries.
Yeah.
Such kind of conversation, an increase in bursaries, or just ensuring that allocations for capitation in schools has also increased. Those are the few things that if government takes into consideration, you'd feel like if there was a girl being supported by dreams, they still go to school. That the government capitation. But have you heard about
that? What is happening? There are ghost schools and ghost schools.
And ghost students.
Yeah.
And no conversations around the capitation. There's so many basics things that by now should be happening.
Yeah.
They are not happening. Okay, yet. We have to understand what has hit us.
Yeah. Someone might think that we've really gone out of topic, but that was, at least it has covered the aspect of health, I feel like I don't know if I've exhausted everything on SRHR but SRHR can be really broad.
Yeah.
But if there are three things that you'll want young people to have at the back of their mind when it comes to SRHR, what will it be?
The first thing, SRHR is life.
Yes.
There's no harm in having fun, but it has to be informed. Yeah. It's also fun to have sex with someone who is informed and who is self-aware. Very important. So don't just have sex because there's opportunity and it's available. Be sure that you'll enjoy it if the person is informed, the person is knowledgeable, and it's consensual. The second thing, I think it would be around take life seriously. Yeah. Take life seriously. There are opportunities that come, but we take them for granted.
Okay.
Something just like having a father or mother or a friend or a brother. It's very important to have those people. Be someone who is open, who can speak to someone. And that is what I mean by being serious. Talking to someone, whether it's a brother, whether it's a friend, whether it's the family members, makes a lot of sense to be able to have a support system. Some people do not have those kind of.
Yeah.
There are conversations that I wished I had with either a father or a mother or a brother or a sister, but I wasn't able to. So you are in a position to have those people. Talk to them. Ask everything and anything that you feel you want to.
Yeah.
Ask anything and everything. The next thing, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
Don't be too hard on yourself. Just a matter of time. Any challenge or anything that you feel it's so hard on you, it's just a matter of time. Just being positive in taking life seriously, talking to people, being open. Talking is not weakling. Talk to people around you and trust that they will be able to be people you trust and be people who can respond to the needs that you present.
Yeah, they have it. I said you're ending. I said this, but you say something. Sorry, you say something on talking, and something have come to my mind when talking about connecting SRHR and mental wellness, and the aspect that most men find themselves in situations that are not good because of not being able to talk about what they feel or what they see, because of them being viewed as weak people. When you speak about it, you're a weak person. When you cry, you're a weak person. When you show affection, and you need to be tough and things like that.
So I think when it comes to SRHR and mental health, you can't separate the two.
Okay.
Especially when we're dealing with young people. A young person will, at one point, by nature, your body will want to have intimacy, right?
Yeah.
And then, when you are thinking about it, that is mental health. The moment you are trying to figure out who is more beautiful than the other, who should I approach?
Yeah.
Who is that one who is like a crush? All those goes to how you record conversations and your environment. How do you think about your environment in the first place? You get? And then it goes to the aspects of he has said no. Then you got to ask,
Why?
why me? You get? What could be wrong with? Then you start asking yourself, am I too black? Am I too short? You get?
Yeah.
All this now still goes to mental health. How do you respond to a no? They call it rejection. But I don't think it's rejection. It's just someone saying
No.
which is not a bad thing.
Okay.
But rejection for me, I think it seems kind of weird and bad because you are not rejected. You get?
Yeah.
This person just said no. It's not rejection. And we should really take that positively.
Okay.
If that person says doesn't mean there's no one else who will say yes. You get? As long as it's an informed and consensual yes, it will come and you'll have it if at all that is what you wanted. But the aspects of having no as a rejection has left so many young people.
Yeah.
You think of, hey, this is the only person I wanted. She has rejected. So let me try suicide. That has pushed so many young people into depression.
Yeah.
I'm not wanted. Blah blah blah. A lot of mental health breakdown just because someone said no.
Yeah.
Ideally, it's not no. It's not rejection. It's just that person being in a position to say, at this point, it's no.
But yeah.
You get? Not rejection. Just take it positively, and there's no harm in trying somewhere. You can always time somewhere else or try some other time.
Yeah.
Yes, you can also try some other time. All this moves to mental health. Now, if this person says yes, the conversation on lies at display.
Yeah.
You get? That's still mental health. It will stay in their mind for I don't know how long. You get?
Yeah.
Question if he didn't mourn, what does that mean? I wasn't sweet, or he has come once, she's not wishing to come back. What could be the reason? All these conversations leave you so many questions on yourself. Am I okay?
Yeah.
Am I? Is there something wrong with me? All these put together, it's still pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
And then it brings the consistency now and continuation brings depression, and you're like, you start to isolate yourself. You get?
Yeah.
But it's not because this person rejected it, because you are not able to really understand where this person was coming from.
Yeah.
I know some kind of no comes kind of weird. And maybe there could be a lot of words you are told, sentences and words that you didn't want to hear, and that makes you feel bad. But it's just how people communicate. There's no harm in doing that. Just take it positively. And also it moves to, there is you hand the sex. what has come out of it, pregnancy or maybe an STI, how will that be interpreted as a young person? You get?
Yeah.
It will have a toll on you or on your partner. Because now they start asking, I'm in school, I'm pregnant, and probably they are positive, but they have not tested. What will happen if they test and find they are positive? You get?
Yeah.
For young people who are living with HIV, they start asking, should I tell her I'm positive? Should I not?
Yeah.
All these conversations are tied to how young people explore issues around SRHR. But the backdrop stops with how they communicate, how they consume the conversations, how they take a yes, how they take a no. Do they know how to respond to anything that comes with it? Because when now, for example, a pregnancy comes and you want to abort, what do? You get?
Yeah.
Will that abortion help you?
Yeah.
Or if it does, how will your environment look like? If someone else come to know that you had done an abortion, will the environment remain the same? So all these conversations are attached to mental health. They will always attach to mental health.
Okay, that's an important part. Okay, now I'm done for real. I think we cannot end a conversation on SRHR with one conversation over time. So it's like it should be like a continuous conversation, and it's good to get. I've learned a lot of things from there, but one thing that has interested me is the aspect that you're saying. If you're patient, you'll be able to know, like, a lot of things will reveal themselves over time if you're patient with something. And I'm not really relating it with intimacy and consent alone. I'm trying to relate it with everything around the young people's life and stuff like that. If you're patient with something, it reveals itself and you're able to know when, okay, at last I know what I'm doing. But if you rush into something, you might not even know what you're doing. It's even in intimacy and relationships and decisions that you're making, entrepreneurship wise, everything. If you're patient with something, you're able to know the right thing to do at that time instead of being in a hurry with something. That is one thing that I've found interesting in everything that I'm saying. And I'm now relating it to a lot of things in the lives of young people, not only in matters SRHR or intimacy, but generally. Yeah. So I think that is it from Minnesota. And I want to thank you for coming. But I want to ask, now we are going back to the pieces of hope, the book that you've written. You've given us like a bit of what is inside the story that is inside. Where can one get a copy if they want to like really understand? They want to also get their pieces together.
Okay, the pieces of hope is available in Nuria stores. Available on
this camera, this one.
You wanted me to advertise?
Yes.
The book is available on Nuria stores.
Okay.
Bazaar building, first floor. You'll be able to also do on their website. You can easily access the book, whether you are within the country or outside. They are able to deliver.
Okay.
So just Google Nuria stores, then you'll be able to get pieces of.
How much is like a book?
It should be 800.
Yes, I say it's an offer right now. 800 right now. Yes.
Yes. So the cost range between 1,000 and 800. Yes, that is based on where it will be delivered. Yeah.
And I saw, I'm just saying, I'm advertising. I saw that you have an option of getting it with the chocolate. You have an option of getting it wrapped. I mean, it comes. You choose how you want the book to be delivered to you. And I think it's not only like pieces of hope for Nelson, but I think you can also learn from it as a young person that may be struggling or going through some things. He has mentioned the times when he went through suicides and the struggles he went through and how he was able to pick those pieces bit by bit to become the person he is now. So if you're struggling with something and you find you're finding it difficult to relate with what you're struggling with and you want to somewhere to relate it with, you can purchase the Pieces of Hope by Nelson from where he said, or you can just go and visit the store at Bazaar Plaza, or you order it and it comes how you want it, and then you're able to also learn from it. I think it's interesting, but he said read it and don't judge, just read to learn. You can laugh in the way of some of the decisions he was making then, but also learn from them, and you're also able to make your own decisions from that. I think that is it from me, and thank you for joining this conversation, learning from Pieces of Hope, and then tapping into a bit of SRHR. My name is Jude, and this is the Urban Online Show. Until next time.